I was a young male who had been put with an older, experienced team of super soldiers or heroes. We were undergoing some tests. They were saying how I was the best at not being selfish and talking of how I helped the oldest complete a challenge by supporting him. If he had failed, he would have been killed. There was a guy in a white-silver flying machine who we thought of as a bad guy. Our commander told me he wanted me on his team and I had to go. So I left the team I had been with reluctantly and went to a small village of older people nearby in a mountain retreat to wait to be collected. All of the buildings were old alpine wooden style. I was waiting in their tavern. A guy came in with an old razor and tried to kill me, but I took the weapon from him and cut him up badly. However, he did not die and bled very little. He never shut up either. There were 9 old guys there. They came over to me and said we would have to carve his body into pieces and eat it to prevent him reassembling. He was Jack the Ripper and Mac the Knife, as well as other historical killers, an immortal assassin. So we did it, and the only female I saw there who ran the tavern cooked him. We then ate till we were very full. I realized after they had kept some parts of him, as we could not eat all of him. The woman made a ball of twine from his skin and gave it to me, as well as some gold, and they also gave me the razor blade in a new case. She told me that she knew me from a past life. It was in Nazi Germany, and I had helped her husband, and some others to escape. I was the only person who had helped without wanting money, sex, or anything in return. Her husband was a writer. He spent most of his time writing. He seemed a little jealous of her feelings towards me. She went on a small bus to a town, taking me away from the bad guy and sending me on a solo mission. She said I would return to them later. She left me with another man who had an old, small, topless sports car. He gave me 2 pairs of old women's shoes. They had small pointed heels flared at the bottom. They were rounded, especially at the toes, and quite large. They were hundreds of years old. He said they were his wife's. It was from a life of an important, wealthy female. They were made of leather in different multicolored panels, worn but in good condition. He then went inside a building. I went to wait for him in the old, slightly worn, damaged 2-seater soft-top sports car. It then started driving by itself and took me to a ferry. On the ferry, the cars were parked very close. A man in the car to my left damaged the car a bit at the left rear corner. I said I wanted $1,000 to repair it. He gave me a bundle of currencies, a checkbook, and some other papers which were of value. Then he went to a small post office to get more, and to a casino next door to the post office. His shirt was stuffed full of papers and currency. As he entered, he dropped a wad of $100 notes and a stamp. I picked up the currency, but let him get the stamp. The car driving automatically then took me to an antique dealer's. I took the shoes to him. We talked. He mentioned the writer by name. He was a famous writer of the last century. I told him I had met him, and he was still writing. He told me he is always a writer, and was Homer before. I realized this guy was one of them also. He already knew about me. They were like immortals, and had even been considered as gods in the past. Now they were living in seclusion in a remote place in the mountains as regular old human people. When they, and now I, consumed the bodies of others like them, they took on their power and longevity. I had been chosen to become one of them. The dealer told me how old things had power and invited me to dinner that night. He would give me something in exchange for the shoes. Things I could use for time travel and power. An old watch was one of the things he gave me. He asked me about the car. I said it wasn't mine to trade and that I had no papers. He said, "Look in the glove box." I would find papers for the car, and an old pistol, and papers for that as well, as I was to travel overseas and take them with me.